vamos a make a better intro later. This is the intro for the taco blog. Than the Rosa eating tacos.
From Hearn, Texas, weighing 273 pounds, the MurderHawk Monster, Lance Archer.
Oh, this is
team burrito that I just found this morning because I was not prepared for this one. But I'm here in St. Louis with somebody very special, somebody that is very tall, very menacing, and I honestly, I'm terrified of him. That is Lance Archer.
It's too early in the morning for her, okay, guys?
Bro, I haven't eaten anything.
I know.
And the sun is 90 degrees right now?
Oh, come on, this ain't nothing to Texas.
All right, we are here at King Taco. What are you gonna order, man?
I have no idea. What do we got?
They have breakfast desayunos.
Yes.
I would like for you to eat tacos, right? But
Me gusta deseo.
they have street tacos. Tex-Mex tacos, fajita cheese tacos,
Well, what-
tacos duros. Oh, they have tacos duros.
What?
How I like it, duros.
Duros.
You know what duros is?
¿Qué es duros?
Hard.
Huh? Hard tacos?
That's what I say. How I
Shouldn't
like
have asked. Shouldn't have asked.
it. Dude, yeah. Then they have chimichangas, chalupas.
What is our goal here today? Just to eat or to try to break a record? What do we do it?
I mean, it's really early. I don't know if you want to eat 10 tacos. I would like to have you, Hobbs, and Cobb all together eating tacos and see who eats the most tacos.
Put somebody out of business?
Yes, why not? You know?
Be fun.
So when do you see Lance laugh so much when you're comfortable? You laugh a lot?
No, I don't. No.
He likes me, that's why. you
Yeah.
know?
No, I'm hungry. That's why.
Oh.
It's not you.
He knows because I'm
It's
gonna
not
pay
you.
for his food. So, so what did you usually have for breakfast? What does your morning look like?
For me at home, breakfast is usually that's my probably most healthy meal of the day.
Yeah.
It's egg whites, ground turkey. Oh, we got our
The
drinks.
coffee's here. Me has quebrado el corazón. ¿Tienes horchata? Dame una horchata, sí. Oye, los tacos nada más vienen en 3, ¿verdad? No pueden hacer uno y uno.
No, sí puedes.
Oh, you can have a mixture of tacos if you want.
Okay.
Gracias. I'm gonna ask. You like chorizo?
Yeah.
He likes chorizo. That's good. So you were saying about your
I
morning.
grew up in Texas, girl.
So are you born and raised in Texas?
Born and raised in Texas. Yo hablo un poquito español.
You do?
Sí.
¿Qué más dices?
I don't know.
So if you go to a taco place and they only speak Spanish, how will you order?
It would take a long time. I'd have to go very slow, and they'd have to be very patient with me.
Tell me. I'm patient.
Don't put me on the spot right now. I know little things, mostly probably bad words, but you know.
What is your favorite bad word in Spanish?
Puto.
He said it really well. Not tacos.
I'm a breakfast guy. I love breakfast. Do you have any recommendations for breakfast?
Breakfast, okay. Mashed cereal.
Sí, sí, sí. No problem.
Chilaquiles are good. That's like what everyone gets.
Well, let's go with that.
Okay. Do you want to do chilaquiles?
Sure.
Can I change my order?
So I grew up in small town Texas. Like if they're watching the show and Justin announces me from Hearn, Texas, that's actually my...
Where's Hearn, Texas?
Hearn, Texas is about 20 minutes from Bryan College Station, and Bryan College Station is where Texas A&M is at.
It's like in the middle of nowhere.
It's a small, tiny little town, like 5,000 people total. I was the minority in my hometown.
So you only like Latinos there?
It's mostly Black and Hispanic.
Black and
then-
Hispanic.
but my family, we're from that area. We grew up there. My family had a pharmacy for 50 years.
Wow.
There, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father ran it.
And then you're like, I'm gonna be a wrestler, y'all.
Yeah, I'm the disappointment. No, and then my older sister, she tried to be a pharmacist, but it's very, very difficult to become a pharmacist.
Yes.
She ultimately became a registered nurse. My mom's a registered nurse. My sister's she's an amazing stay-at-home mom. She's got 4 kids.
Wow.
And then, I got into pro wrestling. So, but I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was a kid.
Did you study like biology in college or
No,
like...
I have an English degree. Yes. I graduated with a BA in English from Texas State University.
Look at him, an educated man.
I have to be smart, and then I got hit in the head with a chair.
And then you still quizzes
Yeah.
people in the Texas dead matches all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I never thought I'd ever become kind of a hardcore wrestler, or a deathmatch wrestler.
So from
Football was my first love. I was trying really hard to play in college and whatnot, and I threw a lot of passes on the sideline, not in the game. So wrestling was always, and I didn't grow up watching wrestling. Like a lot of guys and girls, they grow up watching. They're like, I was a little kid, and I remember whoever from when I was young, and I didn't have that. I didn't start watching wrestling until like the WCW, WWF, Monday Night Wars existed, and you had to watch on 2 different TVs or record on your VCR. That's how old I am. And then watch it later. That's the generation that I was a part of. So I was a big fan while I was in school and while I was playing football. But then football kind of ended. I had a surgery. I had a pilonidal cyst removed, and then it messed up my grades. It messed up football, and so I ended up getting out of football. But I was still, athletically inclined. I worked out and did all that stuff. And I was working at a nightclub in Austin, Texas. And the guy that owned the nightclub, he knew a guy that had started a wrestling school. And I'd actually sent in my paperwork to be a part of Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy.
wow.
Got a call from his mom, who was running the financial department for his school. And she was like, oh, you've been accepted into the school. And I go, oh, okay. I'd literally gotten in a car wreck like a couple days before. Wasn't injured, but my car was totaled.
So you couldn't even drive to San Antonio?
I couldn't drive to San Antonio. And I was in San Marcos, which,
Yeah, I know. I lived there
45 minutes, depending on where you're going. And anyway, so she's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come right now because my car, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, okay. She goes, well, let us know when you can. We'll get you into the next class. And I go, well, how much is the school? And she goes, oh, it's only $3,300.
Back then, that's a lot of money.
For a college kid who doesn't have any money and now his car is totaled, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can afford that. She goes, oh, don't worry. You can pay it off in 3-month installments. So $1,100 a month. I was just like, yeah, I don't have $1,100 a month. But
there was no OnlyFans back then.
Yeah.
Like that money.
And I'm not a hot chick, so it doesn't work for me. But yeah, so the guy who owned the nightclub that I worked at knew a guy that had randomly started a wrestling school in Austin, Texas. It was called the Southwest Wrestling Federation. When he started it, Ivan Putski and Scott Putski were the head trainers. Paul London actually started there, like before I did. He was about 6 months before I was there.
So how long did you train, and how was your first match?
This was not the most reputable place. I had my first match a month after I started training. Now, when you're young and eager, you're like, hell, I'm ready, let's go. I was not.
A month?
A month. The guy running the school just saw money. I was a tall, decent-looking dude.
Just give it a clothesline, a big boot, brother.
Basically.
A big body slam.
Yeah.
Right?
The first guy I wrestled was a guy named Tarzan Taylor, and he literally took about 10 minutes getting to the ring. He's like, don't worry, I'll get heat. And I didn't even really understand what the hell he meant. And I'm like, okay. So I'm standing in the ring while he never gets in the ring for like 10 minutes. To the point where it worked, because as soon as he got in the ring, he was like, hit me. I did, and the people that were there lost their minds. Actually, my 22-year anniversary is coming up on July 5th.
22 years of wrestling?
22 years. Yeah.
That's 1-800-577-80.
Hi guys, this is Rosa, and I'm here to tell you June 25th and 26th, I will be in the Oklahoma Pop Culture City Con. And not only I will be there signing autographs, I'll be there wrestling, and also we're gonna have Mission Pro Wrestling. We're gonna have tons of women's wrestling in the show. Make sure you get your tickets pretty soon. The first big break you have after, or the first time that you're like, I got this, this is good.
I don't know, because I did actually start traveling with a lot of Shawn Michaels kids, and they started kind of teaching me the psychology of pro wrestling, which I had no understanding of. I was just like, I'll just punch and kick and do a body slam here and there, and then you'll do that to me too, and somebody wins, yay. And they started teaching me kind of the real ins and outs of the business, But yeah, so I started traveling the road with them and whatnot, and I was doing, there was a company in Dallas, Texas called PCW, Professional Championship Wrestling, and they ran a weekly television program in Dallas. So I really only started working there because the quality of the product. Like they ran a weekly show, and on its best days for 3 or 4 years, we had probably 300 or 400 people every week, and then we would work to like a big event, like a pay-per-view event, and they'd usually get like 700 to 1,000 people for that.
Wow.
So we had 4 video screens. Everybody had entrance videos. There was cameras.
Wow.
It was a very good small television product. It was a good learning curve, and it ultimately helped me, I think, advance faster for TV and for the possibilities when I started working with TNA.
So TNA was your first big break. How did that happen?
But yeah, so basically, like I was one of the people brought in, and like I had a couple matches with I had a match with like Ron Harris, and that was kind of the catalyst because I had a few dark matches, and then I was actually going back to Nashville to do another one, thinking I was doing another Explosion dark style match. When I got there, my name was on the main board with teaming with Kid Cash, and Kid Cash was main roster guy, and they were doing a tag team tournament, and then I was like, oh, I didn't know, because like this was before like everybody just messaged each other immediately, or your emails came through immediately and things like that. So I had no idea till I got there, and I found out that Ron Harris, who I'd wrestled, basically Kid Cash needed a partner. His partner, Johnny Swinger, was having a child, so he couldn't be at the show, and so they needed a partner for Cash for this tournament. And he randomly goes, well, what about that Shadow? Because that was my gimmick name back then. They're like, what about that Shadow guy? He looks like a bigger version of Kid Cash.
Shadow was your name.
Shadow, yep.
Not Lance?
No, Shadow.
For how long? You were Shadow. Who gave you the name?
In Dallas, I did. What are you doing? Give me that ugly face for? That was me, man. It was a badass gimmick, and I had a whole crew. Yeah, we were called the Dark Circle. Tim Storm, who's with NWA right now.
Oh my God, he was part of your team?
Yeah, Tim was
Do
with
you
us.
have pictures of this?
I'm sure you could look it up easily. But he was not the Tim Storm everybody knows today. Like, he's in amazing shape, looks great, obviously former NWA world champion, things like that. But back then, he was, unfortunately, and I'm sorry, Tim, he was not in the best shape. He had a crazy handlebar mustache. He was a very different dude.
And who was your first match?
So my first match, like I said, because they put me in with Kid Cash,
Yes.
we had a tag team match against Simon Diamond and Sonny Siaki.
Simon Diamond.
Yeah, in the tag team tournament. And actually, that match got me my full job there.
Wow.
So like literally, we go have the match, we come back, and Jerry Jarrett was at Gorilla, and he stood up and he shook my hand, and he said some very nice, cool, positive things. And then Bob Ryder found me a little bit later, and he goes, all right, do you want to work with us at TNA? And I was like, yeah. And he handed me a contract, which, young and dumb, I signed it.
I feel you on that one.
For very limited,
money, yes.
limited money. But, at the time, when you're working the indies and maybe making 40 or 50 bucks, if you're lucky, this was actually, for me, it was good money.
Did your family financially supported you when you were a wrestler, or you had to work and struggle? And
I mean, I worked because that was, my dad very well instilled in me, they took care of me, and they took care of school and things like that. They were very supportive of everything that I did. My mom was she was the rah-rah person. She helped pay for my wrestling school and whatnot. But I worked the whole time. I made my own money to take care of myself. They took care of me in the big things, but they were like, if you want anything else, you got to go and get a job and do your thing. So I always worked in nightclubs. I was a lifeguard at Schlitterbahn in New Braunfels for 2 seasons. I was the oldest.
So you work these odd jobs, and
Yeah.
then you got your opportunity at TNA. How long did you work there, and when did you leave?
TNA, I started in March of 2004, and then left, like to say left in around, I think it was April 2009. I filmed my last match on Monday or Tuesday, went and stayed at my friend's house, and on Thursday was doing a tryout for WWE at FCW. And then by that next Monday, had a job offer. So put on TV for the original ECW product that they had.
ECW?
Yeah, their ECW product in October or November of 2009. So here's the crazy part of that. So when I was in FCW, I had long hair down to the middle of my back. I had a braided goatee, had a big biker jacket. I had kind of an image. And that was the image that ultimately I found out was liked and why I was going to be brought up. But the day of my first match, I'm standing in the ring about 5 minutes before doors open. Vince and Johnny they're just outside looking at me or whatever, they're talking to each other. I don't know what's being said necessarily. Johnny was just like, kid, come here. It's like, what's up, Johnny? He's like, cutting your hair. And I went, all right, am I still on TV tonight? He goes, yeah. I was like, all right, let's go. So they literally, and Janet, our lady, Janet, she's the one that cut it.
Janet, my girl.
Yeah, you could ask her about that. So she cut my hair. And the funny part about that, she cut it. She originally tried to do like this weird Bieber style hair, but my hair wouldn't do that. It wouldn't lay like that.
Yeah.
But they take me into Vince's office to see him, and they're like, Vince, this is better? He said, yes, we're going to break you down to build you up. I go, you like it? He goes, yes, now get out. So I left his office. But they shaved my face, they cut my hair, they said, lose the jacket, change my tights. And this was all like in a 20-minute period before I debuted.
What?
Yeah, so it was
Did
like...
that your hair at all?
I didn't think it did, but I think it absolutely did. Like now looking back, it absolutely messed with me. Because you can't, like you have an image and a thought and a kind of a mental pattern of who you are and what you are, and all of a sudden they're like, change everything.
It ends at WWE, then when does New Japan thing started?
So like I said before, I'd done Japanese wrestling. I'd worked some indie stuff. I'd worked an All Japan tour. So I was trying to go back to All Japan. And I think New Japan at first, all they knew was he'd just done WWE. He's a big guy, and big guys in, big foreigners had always done well in Japan. So they were going to give me a chance, like a one-shot chance to work a tag match in Osaka. And then they did a small East Coast tour, and this was in 2011. And so I went to the show in Philadelphia to kind of make my debut.
Yeah.
And when I was there, it was like, it turned into, we know who you are, because they'd come to TNA and they'd come to WWE. So like I knew Tiger Hattori, I'd met Tanahashi, all these guys before. So they were just like, I know you. And it all of a sudden went from a one-shot spot to, hey, can you stay for 2 weeks? And then I was put into the G1 Climax that my first year there. So it was a pretty quick, like, now you're a part of the company and we're going to use you well.
And you became a very important part of New Japan for like the longest, like you, like
almost 9 years there.
Yeah, you know, it's very hard to see like gaijins to be so successful for so long in a company like that, and they definitely love you. It's probably your favorite memory of working in New Japan.
Oh man, there's so many. So Wrestle Kingdom, for the people who don't know, Wrestle Kingdom is basically their WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
It's done at the Tokyo Dome every year
show.
on January 4th. Now it's a 2-show event, usually January 4th.
Yeah, I went to one, and I got the influenza there.
Yeah. But the first one that I got to be a part of, so I was in a tag team called the Killer Elite Squad with Davey Boy Smith Jr. or Harry Smith, who, congratulations, Harry, he just won the NWA Tag Champion again. Yeah. So we were a tag team, and we came in like just blowing shit, right? Well, I jokingly suggested, because it's the Tokyo Dome, I was like, what if we ride motorcycles into the dome? Wow. Not thinking that it would actually happen. Well, they got a sponsorship out of it with a Harley Japan or Harley Tokyo. But the funny story was, so they said we're going to do it. I'm like, this is amazing. They tell me, they're like, we need your motorcycle's license so that we can get your international motorcycle license. I didn't have one. Well, as you know, the Japanese, they're very
proper,
very, very, this is how things are done, and you don't deviate from them.
Yep.
And I was just like, yeah, I don't have a license. And they're like, they couldn't get the concept. They're like, how do you ride your motorcycle? And I was like, I get on it and I go. They're like, but that's illegal. And I went, yeah, as long as you don't get caught. And they just couldn't get the concept. So at first they were like, well, we don't know if you're going to get to do this. And I said, I'm not going to be on the streets of Tokyo. I'm going to be inside the Tokyo Dome.
No, but you still have to
but my argument was there are no traffic laws inside the Tokyo Dome. So at first they made it sound like it wasn't going to happen. And then we arrived for the Wrestle Kingdom, and on our itinerary was like an 8 a.m. call time for me and Harry to go do the practice rides or whatever. And ultimately, because Harry didn't know how to ride a motorcycle, and nobody knew that till we got there.
Oh my God.
He had good reason though. His father, I think, laid one down when he was still a young boy, things like that. So he had good reason that he'd never ridden and whatnot. But anyway, so we basically compromised. It was just going to be me riding the bike because they had the sponsorship and it had to happen.
Yes.
And then Harry and Taka Michinoku came out on the stage and like waved me on. And we literally filmed me riding in the same spot about 10 different times, but from different angles.
Yeah.
And then I parked behind the big screen, and then they had another shot of me coming around the corner. So while I'm watching this and it's playing on the big screen, like people think that I'm riding this motorcycle through the bowels of the Tokyo Dome, and I'm just sitting there watching it on the screen. And then as I come around the corner, I start up the bike, and then I come around the corner live in front of people.
And everybody just went crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was too much fun. So yeah.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah.
You started at the beginning of AEW, or it was like a couple months after?
Well, AEW had started in 2019, because they were doing just the pay-per-view events, and then they had TV start in October of 2019. I joined the company in February 2020, like right before everything shut down.
Yes.
But the main thing was so I've been working with New Japan for 9 years, but never under a full-time contract. Like, it was an old school business style where you agree to a tour and there's random weird music playing. I'm sure people can hear it. But yeah, so like it was literally tour by tour. It was, we have a contract for you, but it's at the beginning of the tour, and then when the tour is done, contractually, there is no obligation. And that was old school style of business. A lot of the gaijins, like the Will Ospreays and the Jay Whites and whatnot, they'd already been put under full-time contracts because the company was changing and transitioning to more of a global company. But because they'd done business with me the way they'd done, it had never changed.
Yeah.
But that opened the door at a time when like AEW was really starting to grow and branch. Like I said, they just started TV. They were opening up their roster and things like that. And I was approached about doing more of a partial thing, but there was now a full-time offer from New Japan at the time, and so I let AEW know, and then a full-time offer came in from AEW, and it was a back and forth, and it was trying to weigh the pros and cons of both sides and what I was going to do, and ultimately decided to join AEW, which I think at the time especially was an amazingly great decision.
What is your most proud moment now from like the time that you work here at AEW?
Again, had some amazingly cool things. I've had opportunities. I didn't win them, but I've wrestled for two of our titles, the AEW World Championship and the TNT title, 4 different times. And I don't know if there's any other wrestler that's had an opportunity to do that. So that's a real cool thing to be a part of. And again, it goes back to John Moxley. We wrestled a Texas Death Match in Dallas, Texas, for the U.S. title. It's kind of my rematch that I never got, from back in the day, and I was able to win and become the U.S. champion again. It's a New Japan title, not an AEW title, but it was still an AEW main event on Dynamite in Dallas, Texas, in front of family and friends, people who've been watching me for 20 plus years.
It was nasty.
Yeah, it was fun, but I think that was probably my most proud moment, just because of where it was at and what we did and everything like that, and what it meant, with the connection between New Japan and everything like that. So probably one of the coolest moments I've had here.
Have you worked in CMLL before?
No, AAA one time.
When? Where?
That's a fun story too.
Oh God. In Mexico City?
No, it was somewhere outside of Mexico City. So this was probably 2008.
Yeah.
And Conan was taking some of the TNA guys to AAA here and there. So this time he was taking like me and Truth. Well, so we get to Mexico City, and they're like, all right, we're picking you up at this time. I'm like, okay, cool. So they pick us up somewhere near the time.
Of course, yeah, lucha time.
Whatever city we were going to, and I don't remember specifically, was supposedly about 3 hours away. But with traffic, weather. But the other thing is this was before Conan had his hip surgery. So we had to go see a doctor for him to kind of get some treatment, because he was working on the show. So we took a long time, and I'm literally just kind of standing under a bridge in Mexico City, waiting for Conan to get taken care of, whatever. This giant white dude standing around in Mexico City. And, we're just waiting, and it took a long time. So by the time he gets done with that, and we get in the minivan that was full, all 6 people, I think it was like me, Conan, Truth, Zorro, and Macias, maybe? And then...
Big ass motherfuckers in this minivan.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
And we're late to the show.
Of course, it's lucha time. What do you expect?
Well, to the point where we're the main event, La Park is there, and we are not. We change while we're driving in this car. We arrive during the semi-main event.
Of course.
I've never worked lucha before.
It's just like that. It's actually pretty normal.
I didn't know there were 3 falls. I didn't know anything.
Yes.
We put it together a little bit in the car, and then we were there for maybe 10 minutes, and they're like, Lance, you're up, go. And I'm like, what? You know, and they send me out, and there's hot girls dancing. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, there, I go to the ring. I'm like, oh, crap. So I go to the ring. Everybody comes in the ring. LaParker's last. You know, he comes out to his Michael Jackson. It's
Yes.
a TV taping. These people are losing their minds. They're throwing batteries and lemons and limes at us and things like that in the ring. But he comes over and he's like messing with me, squirting lemon and lime at me and whatnot. Well, I didn't know we were doing a jump start either.
Oh.
And I'm just standing there, and all of a sudden everybody starts fighting. So I'm just like, ah, and start fighting with them. We do all this stuff. I take my fall, but again, I think that's the match. So I'm selling, and Macias runs by me and goes, move! And almost kicks me in the head, trying to get me the hell out of the way. I just roll out of the ring and go to the back. I don't even know if I was supposed to leave. I don't know.
You left on the first fall?
Because I was done. I left.
Oh
I didn't
my
know. I literally just left. I was like, I guess I'm done, guys. I'll see you later. No clue what's going on whatsoever. Just left. Just walked to the back. Main event. Big white boy left.
What did they tell you?
Nobody said anything. I got paid and went home.
Unbelievable.
Never went back again.
Probably I know why.
Yeah.
You left on the
They're like, he's so estúpido.
Oh my god.
Is there anything that you would like to tell my YouTubers that you would like them to know just as part of like just, it can be a positive message, it can be like just something that you wanna say, because I think this was honestly one of the, it was a great interview because like it gets to show like another side of you
Right.
that people don't get to see. Like
Right.
like I said, I haven't seen you when you're around, when we're around talking or whatever, messing around, we're always laughing or we're
Right.
having a good time. But I don't think people get to see that human part of you.
Right.
Is there anything that you like to tell my followers or my YouTubers?
You know, I mean, like I said, I've gotten to do this for about 22 years. You know, even getting to do things like this, I think, is what helps me stay excited about the business, because I've seen the business change a lot in 22 years. You know, like I said, from recording everything on a VCR to everything's instantaneous on Twitter, and now we have, you know, YouTube vlogs and things like that that are going on that helps advance everybody's life and careers and everything that goes on. So it's really cool for me, because I don't get to be a part of a lot of these, because there is, I think, some trepidation to me and who people think I am and things like that. Like I said, I guess the message I would like to give is that, you know, there's a lot of, this is not easy times right now for anybody.
No.
You know, I think the world is in a very crazy and weird place for every single person. And I think the one thing that if we can learn to do is that we're all human. And I think that gets forgotten a lot. There's a lot of bad things that are happening around the world, in the US, in Texas, in wherever we're at.
Yeah.
But everything bad, there's bad stuff happening everywhere. And
Yeah.
we all have to remember the one thing is we're all human. Like I said, we're sitting down and having a meal, and the one thing that I learned over my time in the business traveling, I've been in Japan, I've been in France, I've been in places where I literally could not speak the language.
Yeah.
Like if we came to this place and they couldn't speak a lick of English, and you were able to speak with them, but we were able to talk, or hell, even if you and I couldn't speak each other's language very well,
Yeah.
but we could sit down and have this meal, maybe if it's an evening time, have some drinks. And I've sat down and laughed my butt off all night long with people that I could barely communicate with.
In Japan, that happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're having a good meal and you're having drinks if you drink, or whatever the case may be. And if you stop and take away the differences, because we're all different,
Yes.
and look at the fact that we're all human, we're all the same. You cut me, I cut you, we're both bleeding red.
Yeah.
We both can live and die.
Yeah.
That, in fact, is there for every single one of us. Doesn't matter your race, your religion, your gender, whatever you want to be or identify as, we're all human. And if we can all come together in that, I think that's when we can find peace and happiness and unity to move forward as a community, as a country, as a world. And I think that's forgotten a lot because we're so focused on differences. I would hope that everybody would look for the similarities in the fact that we're all humans, we all live and love, and there's a chance. And this is coming from the MurderHawk Monster that yells, "Everybody dies."
No.
When I get in the ring, don't catch me slipping. I'll mess you up.
You up. He'll fuck you up. No, I can say it, but no, thank you. And it's like, honestly, it's I don't know. It's just like it gives a light of of someone that I thought I knew, but I didn't really know.
Right.
You know, and it's like, you're one of the coolest, most down to earth people, and like, we see each other eye to eye a lot of times when we go to work. With that said, guys, be a nice person. You know, share a meal with somebody.
Yeah.
Tell them that you love them. You know, spread positivity and change, positive change. Not the other. The other thing is really easy to do, to spread negativity and to spread, you know, fire and everything. But the hardest part is to make real change.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, it starts with you. So enjoy life. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Like, what are your social media so I can follow you?
The main ones I use are my Twitter and my Instagram, and that's just at Lance Hoyt or at Lance_Hoyt. It's my real name, Hoyt.
Hoyt, yeah. Follow him. Buy his merchandise on Pro Wrestling Tees. And have fun. Have a wonderful day.